Hello, resin creators. My name is Catherine Swift, and I am the creative director here at Resin Obsession. And I had something happen to me here recently that hadn't happened in a while, and I wanted to show you guys because it can be a little scary when this happens if it's never happened to you before or you don't know what's going on. And what happened was my resin got too hot too quickly and started smoking and cured within seconds. So I want to walk you guys through what happened, why it happened, what you can do if it happened to you or if it happens to you, and what you should do to prevent this from happening. Okay, so let me walk you through this. So let me set the stage on what I was doing and what I was working on and kind of like, bring you guys up to speed on what happened. So I was using the Resin Obsession Super Clear Resin to make a project, and I had my resin sitting in a hot water bath, took it out, mixed 3 ounces of resin, let it sit in this cup, and the idea was to then divvy it up into 2 other cups, but it sat in this cup for a while, and then I poured it into 2 other cups, and as you can see, as I went to color it, all of a sudden things started smoking, and my resin cured within like probably 30 seconds, but there was a lot of smoke, a lot of heat produced, and as you can see, it is a big bubbly mess. Like there's all kinds of bubbles in there. You can see like some bubbles and cracking in there, and this was another one. Like this one's really good. Like the surface is really rough, and you can just see all the bubbles that were produced in this cup as well. Okay, so if this has never happened to you, it's a little scary. So, it can happen. So I want to, make sure that, we take this as a moment to practice good resin safety and just know that, we are working with chemicals and to be safe. So why did this happen? Okay, so problem number 1 is that, well, putting your resin in a hot water bath to warm it up is great for helping to control bubbles in your resin. There is too much of a good thing. So the resin sat in the hot water bath for about 10 minutes when it should have been closer to 5. Put it in there. I got a little distracted, right? I'm, having a squirrel moment and, took care of something else when I should have been paying closer attention to what I was doing. So problem number 1 is this sat in the hot water bath too long. So we compound that with, I mixed the maximum mixing amount for this resin, which is 3 ounces. Now, when you guys are working with resin, right, you should feel the 2 parts warm up, right? You're mixing them together. You got resin, you got hardener, you put them together, a chemical reaction occurs, and that's important because that heat is what warms up the resin. However, there is too much of a good thing. And so I mixed 3 ounces, which is the maximum. So when you warm up your resin, that heat also helps to kind of jumpstart things. So I was already mixing the maximum and then I added extra heat to it, okay? So then problem number 3 is I let this sit in the cup, like I let the resin sit in the cup, and I can't explain the physics of it. I'm sure there's somebody out there that is much smarter than me that can explain this. But what happens is it's mass dependent, and so the mixture is heating up, and it just exponentially grows and feeds upon itself. So it just, this whole 3 ounces just sat in there for probably about 5 minutes before I used it, and it, as you can see, right, as I poured it in the other cups and then tried to add color, it didn't work. And then the 4th thing that you can't see that was impacting my studio that day was it has been unseasonably warm here in northern Florida. So I had the windows open and it was about 80 degrees in my studio that day. And so that extra studio warmth kind of adds to things. Resin really likes a temperature of the low 70s. So as you can see, we factor all this in, and this resin just was begging to overheat. And so what happened was, after I poured it into the 3 cups, it started smoking. So there's actually smoke rising from the cups. And at that point, what I did is I picked up this entire tray, took everything outside. I had to walk about 10 feet through a door outside, and I set it on the concrete, and I just let it do its thing, right? So if this happens to you, okay, let's talk about what you should do. So number 1, these are the mixing cups we sell in our store. these are the cups I use. And as you can see, like this cup did not break. It didn't warp. It didn't crack. It didn't do anything. These were, I took these out after it cured so you guys could see it better. So I had to take it out of the cup then. Okay, the reason that's important is for those of you that like to use like the party cups or maybe even paper cups, it totally would have melted your cup and it could have even started a fire. Okay, so these are the cups we sell in our store. I love them. If you're careful, and you can clean them up and use them another time, so don't feel like you can only use them once. But the first thing is, we got to keep yourself safe and we want to keep your area clean. So first thing is use good cups. Okay, secondly is obviously think about what you're going to do should this happen to you. Okay, so you don't want to be in a room or in an area where you got to go up and down stairs, or you don't have a way to get it outside quickly or easily. So just right, you want to have a path clear. You just kind of want to be thinking in the back of your head what you're going to do. So third thing, do not throw this like in a plastic trash can or something like that, or throw it in your kitchen trash or whatever, because obviously if the cup does melt or resin spills out, then you're gonna you could melt through your trash can, and you don't want that to happen. So have something like a metal tin, like a cookie tin, or maybe a metal trash can or something close by that you could always pick this up and throw that into, and then take it outside. So once you get it outside, just let it do its thing. Keep an eye on it. If it's, obviously if it's a big batch of resin that you're mixing and it's, you're close by, having a fire extinguisher handy isn't a bad idea, just in case, something really does get out of control. But in this case, all I did was I picked everything up, took it outside. It smoked for, a couple of minutes and, or a couple of minutes more. And then, this is, what I got. Okay, so what did I do wrong, and what should you not do? So problem number one, right? I should not have let the resin sit in the water bath that long. So 5 minutes is usually plenty. 10 minutes was 8 to 10 minutes was just way too long. So problem number one, I should not have let the resin sit in the water bath that long. Okay. Problem number two is I let this resin sit in the cup all together as one big mix. So I should have, once I mixed it, I should have split it up into 3 different cups right away. And that way it could have warmed in the cup, but the mass wouldn't have got as exponentially hot as quickly as it did when I was doing this. And then number 3 is I probably should have turned on the air conditioning to bring the temperature down a little bit here, or I could have poured later in the evening after, things had cooled off after the sun went down. But, that's what I should have done. But, great learning experience for all of us, right? So remember, when you're out there, be safe when you're working with resin. So wear your gloves. Make sure you have great ventilation. Like, I was incredibly grateful that I had really good ventilation in here when the smoke started rising. So I didn't have to worry about putting myself or anybody else in danger. I was really grateful to have that. So wear your gloves. Make sure you've got great ventilation. Use the proper supplies and equipment, and, guys, keep yourself safe. I want to make sure that you can work with resin for a really, really long time. So if you want more resin information, by gosh, check on this channel. We've got more videos. And if you haven't already guessed, I'm a little resin obsessed here. So can't wait to see what you guys are working on, and let's talk again soon.